So we need A and L?
Yes,
Just A?
Steve's.
So just A?
Steve's an L.
The audio is
Steve's
on.
a- He's an A.
Who's the L?
Karen, that was the
Like,
one.
she doesn't.
Oh, I went on the
But
28th.
she's
Yeah,
was
so
bringing
I can
stuff in on the
put some things on a
Oh, she'll be here later.
She, no, she
No,
didn't get
but
it.
she said, yeah, but she.
email
No.
something out to the system.
Yeah,
I thought it was an A.
Sorry.
I always like a good L.
Yeah. Alice, what?
Do?
Probably has to run off the laptop here too, so.
I'll check that out with Andy and Denise.
My favorite are smoky blowers.
Ten more of those.
I want to have that all the time.
Sounds good.
Like C.
Are you guys on microphone?
I wasn't yet, but I will make sure I'm on.
All right.
There is an HDMI cable there. There is an HDMI cable there, which goes to the recorder, and it has a whole collection of adapters.
Okay,
So
I don't know.
I can bring my laptop right
all
now.
right, all right.
Just make sure you've emailed me your thing. and
I'll make a couple more visuals for the,
Maybe I may think.
got some
I got my
images
thing.
from the
I wrote it
2010
in Google.
harvest that are kind of
Yeah,
interesting to
good.
see.
Yeah.
Very Google.
I'm really clearing my throat. I'm not trying to stop anyone
You'll
talking,
have to
sorry.
stand it.
Mm-hmm.
So, now, it's 6 o'clock, Monday, November
I'll introduce
6th,
you and
at
stand behind
the
you.
select board meeting.
Wow.
Calling my meeting to please to order. Public comments limited to 3 minutes. Anyone have anything they want to say? No one coming forward. We'll start with appointments. Don Jeans. And John Kluger.
Hi there. In your packet, you had information about a proposed project for Maud Jones Memorial Forest. And this is a conservation easement that the town owns, and we acquired this property. And it was already a certified tree farm. And some of the conditions of the easement were that it be managed as a tree farm. So luckily, we have someone very good in town, knows a little bit about forestry, and he came to the Conservation Commission this fall. We approved his plan at our last meeting on the 17th of October, and we'd like your blessing for it, and to tell you more about what's proposed is Don Quigley.
Well, thanks for making some time for this tonight. I know your folks are busy with all kinds of things, but the management plan for the Maud Jones Forest was done in 2010. One of the conditions of a low-cost sale from the original owner to the town was that it maintains itself as a tree farm, and the management plan was written in 2010 to sort of lay out all the objectives for management of that piece of property. 74 acres, but it's divided into 3 units, a north, middle, and south unit, divided by 2 brooks that go across the property. And I think you do have a map that shows some of that. But we're looking at doing an entry into, as is expected under the management plan, to make an entry every 10 years to do some forest management work. And the management work that I have envisioned and I discussed with the Conservation Commission is to do an operation on the north side, north parcel, which we did in 2014. We did a little timber harvest work there. I don't know if any of you have been out there and seen any of that, but on that north unit, I'm proposing to try a German system that's designed for regenerating of middle tolerant species, called an expanding gap system. And so basically what we're going to do is make the gaps that we made in 2014 a little bigger by going around them again. And the advantage of that is that you don't have to drive through the successful regeneration that's now in the middle of those openings that we made 10 years ago. And you concentrate all the harvesting in a distinct zone, so you don't have to drive all the way around, all around in the forest and affect more forest soils that way. So that's one of the plans for the north unit. And the middle unit, which was not harvested in any time since the town has owned it. We're planning to make some small group selections, about the size of this, half the size of this building, small groups where we might take just 5 to 7 trees in 8 different small patches, daisy chained together, that is connected by a system of a road that goes from one to the other, again to concentrate all the harvesting and machinery impact on the soils as much as possible. So why would we be doing this thing at this time? Well, you know, to create a little more stand diversity. Right now the stand is made up of fairly mature white pine trees that have been thinned several times now, most recently in the 1980s when they were thinned. And so now we have a choice of management to make, whether we want to make big openings, small openings, or take every other tree. And so it is my opinion that if we make small group selections, daisy chain them together, we'll be able to meet some of the objectives of creating more diversity and wildlife habitat in that area successfully. The plan is also for that system not to cross the brooks with any machinery or timber cutting, but to use the university gravel pit as a landing site, since it's immediately adjacent to the property and right along the boundary line. And I have a tentative approval from one of the managers of that facility that we can use that as a landing site. So it's already, we don't have to develop another off the road sort of traffic area, since the pit is already open and developed and accustomed to heavy truck traffic in and out of there all the time. So if we can pull that off, I think we can make a very light sort of impact on that middle unit and meet most of our objectives. And primarily, again, create diversity, favoring a lot of intolerant shrubs, that is, new growth that might come into these openings, and all the wildlife benefits that sort of thing brings. We would be selling these trees to a contractor, and so part of this operation would be to create a contract with a timber harvesting company, and I have a couple in mind that I'd really like to work with. We'll have to talk about that, how we do such contracting, where in fact people are paying the town. Was it something I said?
She's so excited about the people paying us.
So my anticipation from this would be about $3,000 to $5,000 of income to the town from the sale of logs from the property, both saw logs and firewood type removal. A couple of things would have to be done ahead of time, of course. We've got to make sure all the contracting is in place and the trees would be marked. And the landing sites for accessing the property would be secured. We do have one on a landing site we used in 2014 right on Turtle Pond Road, and that would require a upgrade of a driveway permit to use that site again. So they granted us a driveway permit in 2014. I believe we could easily get a driveway permit, a temporary driveway permit again in this time. One of the things we want to do next, if we get a green light from you folks, is to start informing the public of what we're going to do. Dawn has proposed a date of the 28th to use this facility for a public sort of session about what this is going to look like, including some visuals and some printed material. We'd like to really focus on notifying the butters to the property primarily, but also use some signage on the trail systems, the kiosks that are already in place out there, and some other things. Any questions? Yeah.
A couple of things. Can you talk about the process you're gonna use so you don't disturb too many soils? They're not gonna use a big,
Well,
are they, or?
one of the things about forest soils, we're learning more all the time about what goes on below the soil surface. When I was a forestry student, there were roots down there, and that's about all we thought about. But now we understand that there are all these connections, and so concentrating any traffic on the soils is really a key part to any harvesting operation these days. In the last operation, done prior to the Lee ownership of that property, they did a thinning in there in 1983, I think it was. Looked great, trees were great, but when we opened some of those trees up in 2014, they had damage inside from that operation. And so if you concentrate the equipment traffic in the areas where the trees are being harvested only, you can really narrow up the footprint of the operation, and that's what we had in mind for this one. So this expanding gap, where we already had some successful regeneration going in this middle part, we can, by circling that and keeping the equipment in the area where trees are going to be removed, we can reduce the impact to the soils. Does that help?
Yes. Do I get another question? I have two more. One, during this operation, I'm not sure when you're planning it, but I assume you're gonna close down the trail system?
Yeah, it would be, February would be the perfect time to do it. Some of that depends on how you can get a contractor in there and the weather and a lot of other kinds of things. But of course, the trails get a little less use in the wintertime. And I think it would be appropriate to have the Conservation Commission or the Trails Committee create some signage that would say, maybe weekend traffic only, allowing the contractors to have the weekdays to do their work and not interference with that system.
And will the contractor take out all the branches and stuff? They'll take it out?
Yeah, so it probably would be just bolewood, and the limbs and tops of the trees would stay in place.
Oh, okay.
But there's a good market for firewood, and so the hardwood trees would be harvested down to a 4-inch type top. And again, that slash would be concentrated in the area where the trees are being removed, and so not scattered around that much.
And lastly, you mentioned revenue. Where does that go?
Well, I think we had some revenue from the 2014 timber harvest. That's still in play. Is that right, Ann?
Yes, and it's in the, correct me if I'm wrong, it's the Land Conservation Stewardship Fund?
Land Conservation Stewardship
No,
Fund.
I said it wrong.
Close.
Close.
Conservation Land Stewardship Trust Fund.
Conservation Land Stewardship Trust Fund. And it still has, I think, $3,000 in it from the 2014 operation. And I think if we build that up a little bit, we can be a little more creative with what we do with that fund.
That was set up specifically for this kind of purpose.
Thanks.
Currently has $3,700 in it, but the money goes to the general fund. You then, because you cannot make a mechanism where that income automatically goes to this fund. So the money goes to the general fund, and then to move it into this, you'd have to do what was done last time, where there was a warrant article to take that money from surplus, explaining what the source of it was, and move it into this fund.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Other questions?
I can make up something.
And they were all good ones too, Scott.
So as a student at UNH, something like this would have been absolutely fascinating. Are we going to let Natural Resources Department, Wildlife and Soils and Forestry know that we're doing this? We're so close to them.
Can you say that again?
As a student at UNH, I would have absolutely loved watching this as it goes through. There's know that we're doing it. Just
Yeah, well, certainly that would be that's a good idea, and I already have. I'm doing a session with one of the forestry programs on that piece of property coming up soon,
That's great.
relative to harvesting in high recreation areas. So I'll make some notes about that at the meeting on the 28th. But of course, that's a challenge when we have a great trail system that people are depending on using, and I think we can do this operation surgically enough that it's not going to be a disruption, and the benefits I think will be something that the results of this will be something that we can use educationally for years to come.
Just excellent.
You're not gonna mention Tom Lee's work and how.
Oh,
Tom's
right,
involved?
it's, I've been working with Tom Lee, and I don't need to tell you folks about Tom Lee. He's a forest ecology expert and written a book on a lot of these kinds of operations, and he's been working with us as well. When he can, he doesn't have a lot of time to put out with us in the woods, but he's doing a biological inventory of the property, sort of piecemeal when he has time to do it. He did an inventory when we acquired the property back in 2007, I believe. He did an inventory, a biological inventory of all the plant life that exists out there. And his work is very impressive, and he's going to work with us on this project as well, and has given us a lot of input already into the plan that I put forth. So now I'm a licensed forester, and I guess I will be working on this project as a volunteer for the town, and so I'm happy to do so as long as that meets all the needs and liability within what volunteers can do for the town. And that would be a critical piece for you folks to consider as well.
Very lucky to have you. It's really excellent. Any questions? So I'm guessing, do we need to have a vote, an official vote, or just we all agree?
It's up to you.
We can go ahead and have them just so in case there's any rules.
Well, I think we'd like to have authorization to contact the butters, and we'd like to
Perfect.
have authorization to hold a meeting here on the 28th and a session in the woods as well, so.
Great. So I move that we give you authorization to contact the butters, have a meeting, and go forward with this plan.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So moved. This is exciting.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I just got a typo on the date.
Oh, okay.
Purchase date on that little page I gave you was
Look at you.
2004, or 2004 or
Thank you for
something.
fixing it. All right, now, next we have Jen from Leaf Readers.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hello, Jen Messiter, 147 Water Falls Road.
Liz Stone, 15 Woodley Falls Road.
So we're here on behalf of the greeters. We would like to change our charge. We've done quite a lot of organizing work over the past year since the committee was set up. And you should have a copy of the changes that we were requesting. And Liz can speak more to this, but as she was meeting new residents and asking about who would be interested in a face-to-face meeting, really not many people wanted to visit.
I think when we started, it's been evolving kind of how this is coming about, so we weren't really sure. And when we looked at what our charge was when we started to what we've kind of morphed into, we realized they didn't match up, so we wanted to change it. I think also we talked about, we're a group of 4, we weren't sure how comfortable we were, like going to people's homes and how comfortable people were with that. So that's why we had changed it, and I meet them in town hall, and then we're trying to piggyback on with other functions and potentially post our own at some point. But.
Right. And because we did also start doing welcome gifts through the town hall, we wanted to add that, as well as the idea of we have started partnering with other committees and events, and we would like to do more events in the future, so that was additions to the charge. So that's why we're here.
Thank you. There's been a lot of towns that have been hearing about what you're doing, and they're getting very excited, so starting a new way to do things.
We're trendsetters.
Yeah. Does anyone want to make any comments or ask questions?
I have one comment. In terms of the last paragraph, how did you come up with those particular criteria? Because there's other ones out there too, so.
I forgot to print it out. Can you refresh my memory?
It says, League greeters welcome all new residents and do not discriminate on the basis of race, color, religion, gender, national orientation, marital status, or sexual orientation in any of its activities or operations.
Was that part of the charge?
That's what
It was
I
the
was
original
thinking.
charge.
It was probably part of the original charge, which we did not.
I have to take responsibility for that. I think I threw it on there when I did the original charge at the request of the board.
So where is the,
The edited version is in our,
oh,
They just want to change this beginning paragraph.
So the last part is not in there.
Do we need
No,
the
it's
last
just,
part?
it's
Do you
just
want the
what they're
last part?
changing.
Or
All
no?
right.
Do we need the last? If it was put in for the board,
I,
fine with that.
reasons.
I would, no, there was no particular reason. I think I had looked at a number of similar committee charges and grabbed
Be
pieces
careful,
of
yeah.
different ones and put them all together in one that seemed good point.
That's good to know,
Yeah.
because you're missing a
Well-
few of them.
Well,
So-
this just says it will make the following changes to the first paragraph. I assume that meant they weren't changing the rest of it.
We were not.
So it's not that they're deleting that paragraph, it's just they're not changing it.
Don't understand that, but then how did this get on there when it's,
Andy?
I
When I
understand that,
initially
but-
did the charge, I put it there.
Okay,
Do we need the second paragraph, or can we add that to this that we don't have the second paragraph? So we don't have to go into a long debate about what should be in that second paragraph.
I don't think you need it.
Okay, so I'm gonna add to the motion then that we remove the second paragraph. Does that sound okay? Any other questions or comments? Okay, so, I move to change the league reader's charge as presented. The first paragraph, removing the second paragraph from the original charge.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Thank you for the work you're doing.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Sorry about that, because I was confused, because I saw this too, but then you passed out the other thing, so I figured that was the new version.
No, that was the result.
That makes more
He
sense.
was crossing his eyes and dotting his T's. All of those things. Next up, we have Peter Hoyt from the cemetery trustees.
Good evening. Come to you tonight to ask if we can start the process. We have three cemeteries that we'd like to consider abandoned. One of the reasons we have trust funds on all of them. One of the reasons we'd like to declare them abandoned, it gives us a little bit more control on what goes in and out of them. One of them right now, we've had people add 4 stones that, from what we can see, don't have any direct tie to the original
Okay.
people that have, that set up the trust fund, that set up the cemetery. So, talking with the town legal lawyer and also charitable trust, it's kind of a gray area where we're headed. So the town attorney said, probably let's start this way. The trust funds that we have give us the right to maintain and do what we have to do to maintain the, the cemeteries. But like I say, we walked in on 2 weeks ago on one and found an extra stone that wasn't there when we mowed it last. So, and my feeling and the feeling of the trustees is that if you're not directly related to the people that set the thing up, you probably don't belong in there.
Just to be clear,
Yep.
talked to Peter, and we don't believe there are people under the stones.
Yes,
That was
I'm
gonna be
sorry.
my question.
I'm sorry, no.
Is it like a midnight burial, like let's stick grandma
Could
in there?
be, I
because we
mean,
don't want-
we have no way of telling, but from what we understand, there's nobody buried in there.
So somebody's just putting up headstones?
They're calling them memorial stones,
I see, okay. All right.
is the title they gave them when we talked to the people.
So going through this particular process, that'll give you the ability to say, no, you cannot put that in, okay.
Yeah, as I understand what the lawyer has given us, you should have a copy of the
Yep.
emails back and forth. It's a bit of a lengthy process, but I figured better to warn you that if you say yes, we'll go through with it and get it done, and it's gonna take a hearing and advertising in the paper, the standard procedure to anything like this, so.
Is there any negative impact that could come from it? Anything that we should be aware of?
Not that I can think of, other than,
We'll find out, I guess.
yeah. We've got 4 other cemeteries in town that are in, what I call an abandoned, it's in the file as abandoned. And whether we did the same process or what, I don't know. It was done long before I became on the trustees, so.
It appears to be a move to circumvent plot fees. You find a cemetery like this, you put your memorial stones in there, maybe scatter some ashes, and
Now you have a place.
So if we go through this process down the road, like for instance, the Toll Edgerly, the descendant of the Toll Edgerlys comes and says, hey, I want to be buried here. That doesn't stop them, right?
Not to my knowledge, but that's one of the reasons we're advertising, because if nobody
Yeah.
answers the advertising in the paper and comes forth by the time of the public hearing, at that point it's declared abandoned, and then the town takes over control of it, which we've basically done for the last 20-plus years on all of these.
So it becomes like the same site, like across from the town center. They would have to
Yeah.
buy a plot and.
That's my understanding, yes.
Okay, thanks, Pete.
Mhm.
Are these currently on private land?
Yes.
Is someone losing land?
Well, the one that we're having the problem with, it's in the deed, but it says excluded the area of the cemetery, meaning that it's not part of the
Land I own.
farm, shall I say, the farmland, but it's a family cemetery. It was a private cemetery.
Okay.
And this means that we have to walk across their property, right, to get to it, so it'll be officially,
Yeah, we
or
do.
official that we're doing that?
Yes.
Okay, that sounds smart. Any other questions or concerns? All right. Oh, I even brought it up. I move to grant the Lee's Cemetery trustees permission to move forward with deeming the following family plot cemeteries in Lee abandoned. 1, Davis Moses, Route 155, North River Road on Flat Hill. 2, Folsom Chesley, Route 152, Wadley Falls Road, 0.65 miles east of Turtle Road, left side in 100 yards. 3, Towley Edgerly Campground Road on the left, about 750 feet behind Long Barn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So moved.
Okay, thank you.
Great, thank you. All right. Steve Bullock, you're up next.
So, excuse me, Saturday is Veterans Day, so I'm here to ask if we can close the transfer station for the day, so they can have a holiday off.
So, I understand that. Is there a way that we could go through the calendar next year? Like, in the next month or so? Yeah, and like go through all these dates and like really, so that we have them available?
She asked me, I think, like a month and a half ago, and I didn't really give her a response, so this is my fault. No big deal.
But I think it's something we could do, right? We could go through and see like, okay, here's the dates, here's that, and just have it so that the town can just have
Yeah.
this full out. Plus you can let people know so they can make plans themselves.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
We're
Awesome.
closed on Friday for Veterans Day. The town.
Right, but the transfer station.
No, I know, I just was making sure I remembered that correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's,
My only issue with that, Steve, is it's very short notice.
Yeah, I know.
Very short notice. So I will be voting no.
Okay,
I would propose that maybe you give them Friday off instead or something.
none of them work Fridays anyway.
That's the only issue I have,
I know.
in terms of short notice. That's,
Gonna put a sign advising them to go to Durham.
I don't think that works. You're gonna get calls from Todd Selleck. So, because their tipping fee is way more than ours, so he's gonna want reimbursement. So,
Yeah, I know. All right. I guess we need to vote.
Mhm.
So I move that we close the transfer station on Saturday, November 11th for President's Day.
second.
Discussion? No? All in favor?
Yes.
Aye. All opposed?
no.
Motion passes.
All right,
Thank you.
so I got a couple other things that have come
Oh,
up.
go for it.
So, well, I don't remember, was 2 weeks ago now that I came before you about the skid steer. We tried one out the last 2 open days from a company that let us demo it. It turned out pretty well. But what Peter has brought up is we are due to get a new loader in the highway department. You get a better price when you buy 2 at once. So we've been asking for prices, and we've gotten them, and they've actually come in all under budget, or right at. But, so, when you do the big iron municipal bids, they just give you a 35% discount, they don't do any more than that. So, going out to bid, they're not really gonna give us anything better than the prices that I have seen. So, one, do you wanna do both at the same time? The money is there. And then, if you do you wanna waive the bid and just go best machine that fits what the guys like and price, and just go that way, since we're not gonna, you know, like, seeing John Deere gave us a price, they're never gonna come in any lower, just like some of the other ones, like, that's going to be the bottom dollar.
And Steve is gonna have at least 3.
4 or 5,
estimates,
probably.
More, so it's not like we're.
And this isn't taking the place of any of the other ones that we've discussed, is that correct? Do we know, we haven't heard yet back about the trucks that have gone out for a grant. Would
11
that money
days.
affect that? 11 days?
And no,
It won't affect that
No.
funding, so you'd have enough for everything, okay.
And when is the second one scheduled to be?
July. They were both scheduled for,
Both scheduled.
both of them were scheduled anyway for July.
Do you like the idea of having two of the same so you know how to fix it?
So technically, it's not gonna be two of the same. If you go with one company, you'll get a Wacker Newson, and then you'll get a Doosan.
Oh,
If you go with like John Deere, you get both. If you, and Cat, you'll get both of the same. And then there's other companies that have 2 different brands.
okay.
They don't sell the same.
Because now you have Bobcats, don't you?
Yeah.
So you're not gonna do a.
Well, we can, but then you might not get the other price. We're gonna get a price for them. But both of the loaders have at least come in under, one of them by a significant amount.
So are they giving you a discount because you're buying 2
Yeah.
potentially?
So, I can say I won't say the company. The municipal discount from one of the companies for a loader, the loader was $321,000. The municipal discount brought it down to $199,000.
And we can't share them, we have to have one in each section. And we still would have time if there's new funding for more energy efficient diesel to go for a grant as well to get
I
some.
think a lot of them are retroactive too.
Okay. So we could keep our eyes open for that and see if there's any way we can get some extra funding.
Yeah.
So could we ask Mr. Chapman how much is in that particular account?
Yes, you could.
Mr. Chapman, could I know how much is in that particular capital reserve fund? And these are both for the transfer station, correct? Both?
The loader's the highway department.
So, highway equipment, 250, almost 253,000. Transfer station equipment, almost 100,000.
So remind me again how much out of each of the ones you want to take out?
It'd be 150 highway, and then the transfer station would come pretty close to being empty by the time you did both. But that's how they're both lined up. And we had the problem of the other one breaking the other day bad enough that it's not really fixable.
So I thought you were talking about the loader and the transfer station, but this is the loader in the highway department.
Yeah, but the loader in the transfer station goes to, and the highway department loader goes into the transfer station. And then 50 from the transfer station goes toward buying a new highway loader for the 200 in the budget.
So,
Sorry.
Excuse me.
so which is the one that's stuck up and won't come down?
That's the Bobcat.
Okay, so that's the one in the transfer station?
That, yes.
Okay, all right.
Well, that's the Bobcat. Then there's the actual dresser loader that's in the transfer station that is,
So at some point, that will get traded in or so.
I'm gonna try to trade them both in at the same time toward the purchase price,
So the numbers you're giving us are
without that trade-in.
without that trade-in? Okay.
And we can just get prices and then come back and see, whatever works, works. The skid steer that's broken is the most important thing.
Could we go forward with the one you need to replace as soon as possible and then discuss the other one? You're trying to, because it doesn't save us any money to do them at the same time.
He just told us that.
They do, it does, the
I'm
prices
sorry,
are cheaper.
I missed that whole thing. I thought you said it doesn't matter because the prices are as low as they can go. So you're saying it is cheaper?
It's because they give you 35%, so you get more money off.
So,
And then they give you a little bit better when you buy two and not one.
Okay, I missed that part, sorry.
But I can just get a bunch of prices, we can figure it out
Yeah.
when we do it.
so what I would like to do, if it's possible, because we meet again on Thursday for the other thing, spend some time at the end or beginning and just have a conversation. And Steve and or Andy, whoever provides us, X is this amount, Y is this amount, and this is what we're taking out of the two funds. But
Where are you meeting on Thursday?
Not
I
here.
think I'm meeting on, is it ABC this Thursday?
No, it's not.
We meet again on Monday next week.
Monday.
I can have it by Monday.
Okay.
I can do, it's
And there's an
actually a longer amount of time.
It's what?
The ABC is on the 16th, the following Thursday.
Oh, I'm off.
After the big NHMA two-day extravaganza.
Oh, yes, the extravaganza, oh my goodness.
To be there for both days.
All right, so let's do it. I would propose let's do it next Monday if you guys can present
I'll try it.
that particular
Do
information.
the best I can to get as many prices as I can.
Okay.
Yeah, and if not, we'll meet again, the 27th, we'll meet again the 30th. We keep meeting, good that way. But I don't think, are we meeting at all on Thanksgiving week?
I don't think so.
Because I had a tentative 20th, but I don't think so, right?
I haven't think
So I can take that
You'll
off.
be here all by yourself, so.
I do not, I really need a week off, you guys. All right, good, thank you. All right, so we will come back to this in the future.
All right.
Thank you.
Don't leave. I have a question. I've been out sick, so I haven't been to the transfer station. I noticed, maybe I just not observed it, the monitors up there is not working. Why aren't we doing something with it? Is it broken? Is we just not using it?
I think when you turn it on, it just has a little cursor that flashes on it.
I haven't been told that it hasn't been working lately, so
Okay,
I've been
we-
looking for
it's.
a good long spell, but
Yeah.
we can certainly investigate.
Well, the whole idea of the thing is to get information out to people, and almost everybody goes to the transfer station. Not everybody, but especially when we want to get
One
information
person
out.
for most houses.
Well, some people have garbage pickup, and some people, I guess, according to Andy's comment, go to Durham, so, you never can tell, so.
Nobody goes to Durham. Perfect.
I'll be talking to Todd Selke, I'm gonna tell him you said that.
We've got some Durham residents that have been.
Oh, really?
It's the opposite direction is the
Maybe I'll have
problem.
that conversation with him too, so. But yeah, we can, I'm not sure what's wrong with it, somebody can figure it
It
out.
comes offline and it needs to get
Yeah, we can reboot it.
turned off, rebooted.
Okay.
Can you turn off and turn back on?
It is now being addressed, is what I'm hearing, so
Yes.
we're all set. Thank you, Mr. Twine.
Steve is going to stick around for non-public.
Fabulous. Stay with us as long as you like. We're now going to go on to regular business with our town administrator.
Yeah, and I'm going to be relatively brief. I do not have the 535 file yet. Everything is in from the town side of things. We're waiting for the auditors to finalize the 535, which we should be doing tomorrow morning. Brenda Bittner, myself, are meeting with, not Ryan, but the other young auditor, and are going to get Mike Campbell on the phone and wrap this up and get that to DRA. So just as soon as I can get Kat at DRA to approve that, I will be back to you with tax rate setting
Hopefully Monday.
information. I'm hoping.
Sounds
And I think that we've got the rest of this week, that they should be able to do that for us.
Can you have a conversation with Ben Jeans? Is this going to create a cash flow problem for him? Because when we send out the bills, they have to be at least 30 days afterwards, so now we're talking mid to late December. Is that going to cause him any cash flow issues? I don't think so, but
It's a terrible time to get.
We'll certainly talk with Ben, and I have been in regular conversation with Ben and the town clerk as well about getting this out.
ASAP.
Unfortunately, when I keep going on the DRA website, as of Friday, they had approved on order of 21 towns, so apparently
There's
everything
ways to
is
go.
significantly backed up. It's typically, they would be
Yeah,
near 60% of the list completed.
thanks.
That's 10%.
I have nothing on the COLA discussion, that was just a carryover. Regarding the new office building project, I met with Ben Carino and the design team last week at their office in Portsmouth. We are putting together material to bring back to the board for your review, and they're also putting together some information questionnaires for both the board and for employees that they'd like to have some answers to, but that is moving along quickly. That was last Thursday, and the plan was to have material to begin presenting within 2 weeks and then a cost out shortly thereafter. So we can keep that moving along. And I met with the 2 architects from Port One that are the staff architects for Carino, as well as Stephanie, who is their sort of interior person, and the project manager, as well as Ben. And everybody is energetic and geared to go, so we should be able to start having public presentation in just a few weeks.
Fabulous.
Hopefully it will be. Under miscellaneous, I had numerous complaints from the residents in close proximity to the new traffic light at the corner of George Bennett and Lee Hill Road. On Friday, I got a mysterious call from one of the residents who thanked me for getting Eversource to do something about the light. It was much better, and I had no success getting Eversource to do anything. It turned out that the police chief had gone after Eversource with some vigor about reducing the amount of light, and they apparently put a new bulb in and changed some things, so there's considerably less cast beyond the original sidewalk area.
It's there for the purpose of a crosswalk that will be there soon, but at least right now, there's a safe place to cross if people are out.
I have been explaining.
Thank you. Just so the rest of the world knows why we randomly put up some lights in the middle of nowhere.
People have been telling me how much they spent on new shades that still are not keeping the light out, that sort of thing. So, but I think we're in a good place right now. The other thing I wanted to mention under miscellaneous, and this is with regard to the town center and the potential town office building site. Forester and timber guy Clayton Dow was doing some work in Lee over on High Street. Steve talked to him, sent him over to my office. He had done some timber removal for the town previously. It didn't actually generate any revenue, but he had taken down trees for no cost if he felt they were useful. He took a look at the town center lot and said that he would be completely willing to do the same if the town is interested. He doesn't see a lot of value in that timber, but that he would clear up to 8 acres or however much of that you want cleared on that particular parcel in preparation for the town office building. And he said that's not big enough, so he's particularly concerned about scheduling it. So you could do it at your leisure.
I love that. That's
Yeah, it's only like 4, that particular area.
yeah, it's only a small amount we need cleared.
Plus, we also spoke about taking down the big pines around the cemetery, because when they come
Dangerous.
down, they're gonna.
Yep. I don't know, he is not a tree removal contractor, he's a logger. So I don't know if he's interested in
Tricky thing.
trees around the cemetery or not, but
Well, they're pines, I don't know what their condition is.
yeah.
But also, we would want somebody, whoever does that, to grub it up as well, take out all the stumps. But I don't know if he does.
This would at least be one part for free, and then you'd only have the stumps instead of having to pay someone to.
Yeah, I
log
don't
it.
know what his stumping capability is. I think he's pretty much commercial harvest, but
You only need to do
he may be
2
able to
acres.
give me some ideas along those lines too.
You need somebody with a large excavator to pump them, so.
Yes.
It's only 2 acres.
Oh, 2.
Yeah.
That should be
I knew it was
clear.
an 8. So,
And if you want to talk about what you do with it, go back and read the report from Don Quigley.
Mhm.
And I believe I have those.
Just to be official, Ann Tappan, Stepping Stone Road. Before the forester goes in with equipment, some groups should be consulted, like around the cemetery that's been marked, if there's any issues with that, and also that they know where the boundaries of the town forest is. And it's just always prudent.
Yep, it was just a standing offer, and certainly there are a number of channels that we need to
Yeah,
go
do
through.
all the things we need to do first, absolutely.
Yep.
And if somebody wants to pay us to take those trees, we prefer that. So if you're out there thinking you'd like some trees, take it.
And the last thing I had, and actually Ann brought this to my attention, but back in January of 2022, the board granted a UNH graduate student by the name of David Moore permission to
Ash borer?
Birch sap study.
Birch sap, yeah.
Yes, tap 9 paper birch trees at Little River Park on the Mill Reserve. Part of the project that he was doing was, after he was done the 2-year sap removal project, he wanted to harvest 6 of the trees for research purposes. And you had granted him permission to do that, but Ann was aware that he intended or had inquired if he could come back and do that this week, and he would like to. So just as a heads up to the board that
Sounds good.
if you get phone calls from
There's a reason those birch.
strange men cutting down birch trees in the Little River Park area,
We know
that's
why.
why.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Thank you, Andy. Just a couple of other quick things. It is away from the trail, so it doesn't interfere with that Sandy Bowl has a trail that loops through it, and it's back into the woods, so that's not a problem. And he already did say that he's been either in touch with or will be in touch with Steve, so that he knows, and also with the police chief, because those are among the people that are likely to get
The
calls.
Yep.
And he expects it will take 1 day, maybe a little longer. It is weather dependent, so thank you.
And he'll get us the results just for our interest when he's done.
I certainly hope so. I mean, this is a doctoral research project, so I'm not sure,
Yeah.
what the timeline is on that.
Eventually.
But we would, if we haven't already requested that, we will.
Thank you, appreciate that.
And that was all I had to see.
Okay. Is there anything else we need to discuss before we go forward? No? All right. I move that we adopt the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, so moved.
So we're gonna do electronic transfer? No?
That's up to me.
I think that's part of the form. so-
Yeah, it is.
You have the option of electronic transfer via ACH, or
Yeah,
you can drive it to the courthouse or instruct me to drive it to the courthouse.
we set up to do the ACH because we do it now for other things, so can we just pay the, what is it, 1.7? Okay. So if you ladies are amenable, can we check that box?
On my phone. Yeah, do you have any concerns about them doing ACH?
I don't, I'm a big fan of an ACH and leaving, although it's lovely to get to drive with our police officers, I prefer to do it in Lee, so.
Okay.
Instead of to the courthouse. But they do get very excited when we come in, so
So
they're gonna be sad.
can I check that box?
Yeah. Times they are changing.
Yes, I'm sorry, I overestimated. It's $1,643,361.
We also don't write a single check over $1 million to the school district either, so just for the record. They're under, they're actually less this year than they were the year before. Okay, no business,
No.
nothing, all right, look at this. No,
And Steve, we should probably go in under C and L.
oh, we're gonna do C and L. I thought it was A, not L, now it's C and L. All right,
C and L, no A.
I don't know what any of the numbers.
You don't need to talk about employees, do you?
No.
All right.
We don't think so.
I move to enter into non-public session NHRSA 91-A:3, 2, C and L.
Second.
Any discussion?
No.
Roll call vote, Mr. Buckley.
Yes.
Ms. Hopkins.
Yes.
Ms. Casper, yes. Thank you, everyone.
Well, no,
Sorry, I didn't even see it.
Oh, no, because
I could
it's
like
not
filter
there.
it. I started looking at it.
I figured we were over it because we didn't have enough
Well,
planning.
It should do something.
Next Monday would be the fifth.
Okay.
And it can be official.
Okay.
Thanks for your help.
If there is a problem, trustees and trust funds with the December budget, December balance, that if they have spent money, it's to come from trust and reserve funds.
Yeah.
We can always keep money available for that. Yeah.
you guys.
Denise, have you ever seen us about this?
No.
Did you miss us? Did you even have time to miss us?
No.
What folder they're in?
I'm freezing.
Well, Rebecca had time to get folders. All right, I move that we seal the non-public minutes.
Second.
On, Mr. Bugby.
Yes.
Mrs. Hawthorne.
Yes.
Mrs. Casper, yes. So moved. Anything else?
Motion to adjourn.
Second, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Is
Motion passed.
that why you were coughing? Who's coughing? Me? Yeah, I thought that was like reminding him of something.
No, 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 no. That's like when I was clearing my throat and everyone got really quiet. I'm like, no, I was literally just trying to clear my throat.
Well, thank you.